everyone, and welcome to Tiger on the Block, the only podcast that takes collegiate a cappella members and makes them really uncomfortable for 30 minutes. I'm Tony like the tiger, Voss like the water.
And I'm Jessica Block, and I'm also just sick of this quarantine. But, well, shall we get into some light banter? I was thinking recently...
No time for banter!
Y'all can't see it, but Tony just flipped a table.
There's no time for flipping tables!
But you just...
No time for jest. Who do we have in the studio today?
Well, we have Bruin Harmony from UCLA.
Give a little time to me. Burn this out. We'll play hide and seek. Turn this around. All I really want is the taste that your lips allow. My mind, my mind. Give me love. My mind, my mind.
Bruin Harmony has performed in UCLA Spring Sing Competition, the ICCAs, LAAF, CAF, and other performances around the Los Angeles area.
They've been around since 2006 and are the only all-male a cappella group at UCLA. In the famous words of American singer-songwriter Meghan Trainor, for these boys, it's all about the bass, no treble. Get it? 'Cause they're an all-guy group.
Jessica, there's not a single person on this planet that didn't get that joke.
Yes, I know I'm a comedy genius.
Okay, well, whatever you want to tell yourself. Anyway, we have two members of Bruin Harmony here with us in the studio. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Hey guys, my name is John Webster. I am a sophomore in the group and I'm the group's business manager.
Hi, I'm Cole. I am a freshman. This is my first year in Bruin Harmony, and I am a baritone.
Awesome. So I guess we'll start off with a couple questions about you guys. Why don't you tell us who you are, where you're from, how'd you get into music and a cappella, just a little bit about your background and how you got to this point being in Bruin Harmony at UCLA.
Yeah, so for me, again, my name's John. I am from Potomac, Maryland, so all the way on the East Coast. And I started singing when I was pretty young. I think I'd say probably around kindergarten. And probably the main reason I got into singing was because of my two sisters. I have two older sisters. One is 21 and one is 25. And they both sang and kind of brought me along. And we used to, sing all the time together when we were kids. And that kind of just got me into singing. And then I did theater in high school and stuff, and a cappella. And then I knew I wanted to do a cappella in college because I knew it would be a great community. And I just love to sing.
Yeah, so again, I'm Cole. I'm a freshman, and I'm a theater major at UCLA. Me and Tony are actually classmates. But I've done theater since I was little. It's been something that's really been a major part of my life, and I knew that coming into college, I really wanted to have some sort of singing to do in like a personal life setting rather than just in the classroom. And I thought a cappella would be a really, really fun way to have that avenue. And being in Bruin Harmony during my freshman year has really given me a solid home base and a foundation to go back to after all of the craziness that is being a theater major. And so I'm very thankful for that. Yeah.
Awesome. So mentioned previously within the podcast, we did do a small bit about how you guys are the only all-male group on the UCLA campus. And so you guys really have a reputation of being like a brotherhood. And so I wonder if you guys could just talk a little bit about the B-Harm camaraderie.
Yeah, so being an all-male group obviously kind of lends itself to being almost the frat of UCLA a cappella. The most, the most alpha male environment that it possibly could be when you're just singing together. But I think what makes something special about our group, I think, is that we do a really good job of bringing each other up emotionally just as much as we are there goofing around and fooling around. And it's this very healthy balance of an in-between area where we all feel like our own individual needs are being lifted up by everyone. And it's this really supportive environment. And I think it's very helpful that in an all-male group, it doesn't feel so hyper-masculine and there's no toxic environment. And we are very conscious of how that can be perceived. And I think it's within ourselves that we're looking to kind of get rid of those preconceived notions and try to push ourselves to understand where we stand within the campus community and understand that our privileges are there and they exist, but we have to put in extra effort to kind of work around that and support those that don't have those privileges. And I think we do the best job we can in doing that, you know?
That makes sense. I know you guys are really inviting with a lot of other groups, and like when you guys have shows and you have other groups open for you, I know it's a really awesome and healthy atmosphere, like a lot of acapella shows at UCLA, because so many groups perform with each other. It's just really tight-knit, and I know B-Harm's a huge part of that. When you guys have shows, you bring a lot of other groups together, and you have those hilarious like descriptions of what the show's gonna be. I know reading those on Facebook, I'm always like, I should check this out. This looks awesome.
Yeah, I think as much as we are very invested in the music that we make, we also understand that this is really just collegiate a cappella, and we're all doing this for fun. And so as long as we don't take ourselves too seriously and let ourselves have a good time, it kind of lends itself to creating the best music. Because I think what makes B-Harm special is we understand that as much as we are here to make music with each other, we're also here to just be friends and be around each other all the time. And I think that's kind of what makes B-Harm B-Harm.
Going off of that, I mean, B-Harm, as many a cappella groups are, is kind of like a family. And can you guys speak a little bit to what makes B-Harm so tight-knit and how that atmosphere of being so tight-knit leads to more coherent performances and more just a gelled sound for your group?
Totally. I think one of the things that makes us so tight-knit is that we really try to focus on understanding who we are. Like as individuals and as a group, we really try to open up to each other as much as we can, and we try to make a really safe space so that anyone can, you know, say what they're feeling at any moment, and that kind of brings us closer together because we always know what's going on in other people's lives, and that kind of brings us together. And I think there's just a lot of shared love that we have, and part of that comes from getting to sing with each other, but also just being together is a really important part, and that's why quarantine has been so hard. And one thing we kind of miss is just the banter and like joking around that we can get, you know, outside, that we can only really do when we're together. And just being in each other's presence really just helps us do that. And I think in terms of our performances, knowing every time we step on stage, knowing that you have 17 other people that are caring for you and loving you, it really just helps us connect when we're singing songs. And that's kind of why recently our music has been more like emotional, and but we always try to keep that fun side of our performances too, and it's always a balance between those two. And just the shared love really helps us, express our emotions in our performances.
Yeah. And going off of that, just in addition to talking about what goes into your performances, talking a little bit about what you get out of them, do you guys have any favorite moments from performances this year? And we'll get into a couple of other performances you've done in the past couple of years in a couple minutes, but just thinking about this year, do you have a couple favorite moments or favorite songs, either from performances or just social events, like things that happened this year with you and B-Harm that you really enjoyed?
I think for me, one of my favorite moments during one of our performances was at LAAF, when Cole and Michael Wells, they have a dance break in one of our songs, and just getting to see those two show like a different side of a cappella and a different side of themselves that is important to them, but doesn't really get to be showcased in a cappella too often. That was really cool, and seeing how the crowd reacted to it was just really cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say LAAF too, but it was because we got runner up at LAAF, but one of our members, thank you, but one of our other members, who's also my roommate, Anthony Reed, won Best Soloist, and so that the moment when he won Best Soloist, I think, was one of my favorite moments this year, because we were all just so happy for him and jumping on him and hugging each other, and it was as much an individual win as it was a group win.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's really nice when someone in your group wins something, because you're like, yeah, I know them. Yeah, I spent a lot of time with them.
Yeah, it was
kind of fun.
for sure.
I would like to take a moment real quick and just ask both of you, what are your favorite performances so far within your B-Harm career, and maybe even your favorite song that you guys have been able to learn and perform for a live audience?
I'd say for me, my favorite performance was probably Spring Sing last year. We sang Gravity, and it was a really special experience just because Spring Sing is kind of just its own thing, where it's a really special experience getting to sing in Poly in front of such a big audience that just like loves the talent that is at UCLA, and it's such a supportive community. And I think that was one moment for me when kind of our group dynamic really showed through, and we just, it was a really special moment to just sing on that stage with the boys that we loved.
You guys killed it too. That was an amazing performance.
I wasn't there because I was a freshman, but I was there in spirit, and I loved it in spirit.
Yeah, for me, I think it would kind of be something that's kind of on the opposite side of the spectrum in terms of scale. For our last concert of the year, we did like a cabaret kind of person, like each person had like an individual act, or maybe like we did duos and there were duets. But at the end of that concert, we all sang Gravity, which was the song that I auditioned with for the group and was the first ever song I learned for the group. And so at that time, obviously, we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know quarantine was coming, but that concert we had decided was the last time we were going to sing Gravity as a group. I would say that song kind of perfectly bookended my freshman year in the group. And now when I look back at what freshman year was, I'm just going to think Gravity. And that song will define my freshman year in B-Harm. And I think that performance of that song was so special because a few alumni came in and sang with us. And it was just a kind of special environment for a special song that meant a lot. So yeah.
Seems like kind of a full circle moment too for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So our next section is going to dive in a little deeper into one of your guys' most recent performances, your performance at LAAF, which is the LA Acapella Festival, and Tony is here to introduce this next section.
Awesome. Everybody, welcome to Music Notes. This is the part of our show where we take a look back at a past performance of the group and talk a little bit about the preparation that went into it, how it felt to perform live, and what it feels like to look back at it now. Today, we are going to be taking a look at I Got You by Ceramic, which, as Jessica mentioned earlier, is from your LAAF performance in 2020. Let's take a listen. I've said it multiple times on the show whenever we do this segment, but seeing our guests rock out and really just like the note hits or the choreography just, and there's a spark within your guys' eyes where you're all of a sudden you're back there, or you're just remembering all of that times and how cool it was and how cool you felt. I just wanted to ask you guys for your visceral responses real quick, just to start off Music Notes.
Watching that, it just brought me back to so how our process kind of works when we're going into choreographing a piece is we'll have a few rehearsals, and then we try to schedule our retreat, which is a thing we do each quarter to kind of, as a group bonding thing, we try to schedule that. and have that time dedicated to kind of locking down whatever major choreography we need to do before something like a LAAF comes up. And so I was watching that, and it made me think about the the messy rehearsal we had at our retreat for that song, and watching the two circles go around, and the amount of times we just did that one section over and over again till it got right. That's what I remembered, and it was it was a good memory, because once it did happen, it looked really, really good. But the struggle that came before that, I think it was one of my favorite memories for sure.
And for me, I'd just say it definitely just brings me back to just being with the group, and it just makes me miss everyone a lot. And it just it's just such a happy memory, because that was probably like the biggest like performance we did on stage this year, and just the amount of work that we put into it, and with being so happy how it came out, it was just a special experience.
A lot of people don't realize, because they've seen Pitch Perfect and they don't really have necessarily other exposure to a cappella. They don't realize how much time it takes not only to learn the music and to get it sounding professional, but to get the choreography looking professional. And then to put those two together, it takes like months of hard work, or if not months, then weeks full of like 6-hour rehearsals. It's crazy, and it's a lot of time.
Like for me personally, like I'm a theater major, and I did theater in high school, and so like this avenue makes a lot of sense for me. Like I don't really struggle with putting music and choreography together, but there are other members in the group where that's just not their skill set, and everyone's kind of at a different place. So you just have to take a couple extra tries for a few people. And I think one of my favorite things is appreciating everyone's individual talents, but understanding that like maybe it's going to take them a second to learn this choreo, and like that's okay, but it's this learning experience that I'm appreciating now. And it's just like John said, it just makes me miss being in those midnight rehearsals where we're in a room in the theater building that we're not supposed to really be in at midnight, and we're like, we got to do this. It's coming up in 2 days. We got to lock down this choreo, and everyone's sleep deprived, but we're going to do it. And yeah, it's just, that just brought back a lot of good memories for sure.
I was going to say, yeah, it's a great experience just being up late with your a cappella group trying to perfect one particular part of the choreo. We were once doing that in one of the rooms in Woodin, and the lights turned out because Woodin was closing. And we were like, well, I guess.
Remember that.
We all turned on our phone flashlights and held them in one hand while trying to do choreo. It's intense. It's an intense world out there in a cappella.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you guys could touch a little bit about the LAAF experience overall. For those who may be listening and don't really know a lot about LAAF, if you guys could just elaborate about what it is, what it's about, and the experience that you guys had, not only performing, but seeing the other groups perform at that competition.
Yeah. So we performed in LAAF last year as well, and it was definitely very different last year, because we were kind of coming off of ICCAs, and it was just very different. Like it felt like we were kind of burnt out at that time. But this year, getting to put all our energy into LAAF was really cool. And I think just LAAF in general is basically a competition where not only college groups, but also high school groups can perform, which I think is really cool, because there's a lot of really good high school groups that people don't know about. And I think the fact that they're able to do that when, they're younger, just being younger is a lot harder, and not having as much experience singing, and it's really cool to see that. And I think LAAF this year was really a cool experience, just because it felt like everyone was supporting us, like all the people that were like the producers of LAAF, the people, the MCs, everyone just seemed really supportive, and that was a really cool thing to see.
Are the groups that perform in LAAF all from the LA area, or are they from like all over California or the United States?
So yeah, they're from anywhere. There was a group this year from Oregon.
Oh,
there was a group last year from Washington, I think. So it's mainly LA groups or groups in California, but there are some groups that come from other parts of the US.
Nice.
All right, well, we have a game for you all to play, but before we get into that, we would like to thank today's sponsors. Today's episode is brought to you by Katanas. Slice and dice till your enemies pay the price.
And by Elmer's Glue. Not necessarily sticky, but what a classic good time.
So today we're trying a new game that we haven't tried on the show before. It's based off of a game that I used to play back in high school called Mega Genre Action Replay. It's an improv game that we're going to apply to music, and it's going to be a very interesting time. So the idea is, Jess, would you mind helping me out in an example?
I would not mind at all.
Fantastic. All right, so every game will begin with a singular song. So for Jess, give me a small rendition of Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white.
All right, now Jess, that was really good, but I just talked to the producers, and they really would like it if you were to do it as a sultry jazz number.
Mary had a little lamb, little lamb. And her fleece was white as snow.
All right, so apparently jazz is dead. This news, great new news to me. But in order to reach our younger audiences, I will need you to rap Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as.
And that's the game. How do you guys feel about that? We're trying something new.
Sounds good.
All right, so the song that we chose, that we were thinking of choosing, and I will cut this if nobody knows it. We were gonna do the song, I believe, For the Longest Time.
You guys do that one in
We
Bihar?
do. It's our alumni song.
Perfect.
All right, so we're gonna take your guys' alumni song. Whichever one of you just wants to do the natural version of it, go ahead, and then we'll just start jumping back and forth. The person who goes second was gonna get a new genre to have to put it in. So whoever wants the easy answer.
I can do it, I guess.
Yeah. Hope you vocally warmed up. Should have told you.
Let's do some sirens together, just everyone,
also
woo!
Forget the lyrics, but
If you forget the lyrics, you can just scat. It doesn't have to be jazz.
Just looking for some solid 8/16 bar.
If you said goodbye to me tonight, there would be no music left to write. What else could I do? I'm so inspired by you. That hasn't happened for the longest time.
All right. Nice job.
Jess, how about you give Cole the first genre? The producers here, they handed me a note. I can't read it. I don't know how to read.
Got you. Looks like our first genre is pop.
All right, Cole, could you give us a modern pop rendition of For the Longest Time?
If you said goodbye to me tonight, there would be no music left to write. If I need you. I don't know. I forget the words.
No, it's so good.
Oh, Tony,
right.
It turns out this next one is written in Tony language, and I don't know how to read Tony language, so I'm going to hand the card back to you. I need you to read this one.
Don't worry about that. Tony language is something I've been fluent in since the womb.
Impressive.
Ooh, all right. It looks like, John, the producers want you to sing it as like a rock song from the early 2000s.
I'll do my best.
If you said goodbye to me tonight, there would be no music left to write.
Awesome.
Ooh.
Wonderful.
Oh, Jess, producer's on the phone. It's for you.
Oh, hello? You want what? Well, it looks like our next genre for you guys, and specifically for Cole, is opera.
If you said goodbye to me tonight, there would be no music left to write. Yeah.
Toby would be very proud. One of our members is an opera major, so.
Ooh,
Wonderful.
exciting.
Well, Tony, the producer says that they're tired of talking to me, so I'm going to hand it back over to you. Here you go.
That's cool. What you got for me, Dave? Dave is such a kidder. Oh my god. Oh, you aren't joking. Or are you sure? Okay. So this one's gonna be a little bit confusing. But I hope that you can figure this one out, John. So the producer told me that he loves everything that we're doing. It's coming along great, but he wants you to sing it as a karaoke bar performance where you are 3 drinks in and trying to impress your crush Jacob, who is currently in a relationship, but you are better than that bitch. You are better than that bitch, and you're gonna prove it with this song.
All right.
Remember, your character. 3 drinks in. Jacob, you're better than that bitch.
If you said goodbye to me tonight, there would be no music left to write.
That was pretty good.
Powerful, potent, incredible.
I just got disconnected. Jess, do you think you could call Dave or text him? I think
Yeah,
he
hold
was
on
He was in the
second.
middle of saying something.
Hello? Dave? But that's not a... Okay. Cole, it looks like your next genre is going to be cursive.
Great. Okay. If you said goodbye to me tonight, there would still be music left to write. Like
Fantastic.
Halsey, Billy, you know.
We got him. Grace Vanderwall is shaking right now.
She's been very quiet since he did that.
Been real silent. Oh, okay, hold on. I got a text message. Looks like, John, for your last one, we're looking for your, I guess we're sticking with, like, a font theme now. I don't know what Dave's on, but John, if you could do your best to sing it in Comic Sans. I don't know what it means either. Could you just...
All right. Okay. If you say goodbye to me tonight, there would be no music left to write.
Yeah.
That sounded like Comic Sans to me.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see the script visually with that.
I could hear the 3rd grade PowerPoint.
All right. Oh, Jess. He keeps sending. He sent me this next message in emojis, and I don't know how to read hieroglyphics. Do you think you could figure that out?
Let me just take a look.
It looks like this is the last thing we need.
I think this is the last thing we need, and I think, Cole, you are supposed to sing this song in wingdings.
I don't think I know what that font looks like, if we're being honest, but I will take a stab at it. Just what I assume wingdings looks like.
That's all we could want.
Okay. If you said goodbye to me tonight, there would still be music left to write. Yeah.
Wow, I'm hearing random symbols in my head. That was so spot on to wingdings.
That was perfect.
Awesome. So this game doesn't necessarily have a winner because I feel like we all won in our hearts and in our minds. This has just been a really cool game just to get to play with you guys and also get to show off some of your vocal and improv chops.
Oh my god, yes, guys, sick prov.
Sick
That was
prov,
so
bro.
good.
The bits were incredible. So this is a smaller segment. This is just we like to take a moment in our show just to let you guys get to shout out anyone or anything that you want. If you want to promote anything that the group has coming up, if you guys want to tell people how they could audition next year potentially, or even if you have something that you want to promote for yourself, now is the time.
And we will have all of your guys' links below in the description. We'll have your website, your YouTube, Instagram, everything. But just say them all out loud and tell us where we can go to see your guys' stuff.
Plug away.
Totally. Well, one thing I'll say is if you don't follow us on Instagram at Bruin Harmony, over this quarantine, one of our goals was to, first I'll say that a tradition we have every year is to give all the seniors a senior song that they get to sing the solo for at our last concert. But because that's not happening, we are doing it virtually. So our first one, Troy's senior song, is Colder Weather, and it'll be coming out on all social media very soon, hopefully in the next couple days. So keep a lookout for that, and for all the other ones, the rest of the senior songs as well. In terms of auditions, we're not sure exactly what's going to happen yet. We are kind of waiting for some sort of semblance of an idea of what's going to happen with school. There's a chance we would have virtual auditions, but obviously we would prefer to have in-person auditions if that's possible. It's also possible that we might delay it to winter if need be. And let's see. Cole, do you want to talk about some of the new stuff we're doing with social media and the logo and stuff?
Oh yeah. A major idea that we've kind of been working on over this quarantine period has been a bit of a rebranding for our group. One of the major pieces of the BHARM logo is the tie that was a staple of BHARM about he has more recent than that, probably like 3 or 4 years ago, where they would wear a vest and tie kind of as a staple look for the group. And as our music and the genres that our group has been looking into have evolved since then, we kind of are looking for a bit of a rebranding. So we are going to come up with a new logo design, as well as working around new ways to come up with new music. And so look forward to a new BHARM next year, a cleaner, a fresher BHARM. And obviously auditions are still up in the air with everything that's going on, but we would hope that the newest BHARMs would be excited for that experience.
There's going to be a B-reharm.
Yeah.
I had to say it, I'm sorry.
No, it's absolutely good. Also, everyone, be sure to catch Cole Sisser on the Broadway stage in a couple years, because my man is going to make it wherever he goes.
Well, thank you, Tony. That was very nice.
No problem. I would like to thank both of you for just coming on the show and being able to talk to us about your experience, both like in BHARM, in the acapella world, at LAAF, and just getting to share in this moment where we get to really, even though like our lives are on pause, really get to reconnect with the acapella culture.
Thank you so much for having us, and this was a really cool opportunity to think back on our year and talk about college acapella, and it was really fun to be on here. Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you so much for coming. We love talking to you guys. It's always fun to talk to UCLA acapella people.
We would also like to thank our short-term temp, Mem Relos, for helping us around the studio with all the little things.
And our short-term temp, Mem Relos, for helping us out around the studio with all the little things.
Oh, deja vu.
All over again.
And of course, our listeners, thank you for tuning in.
Join us again next week when our guests will be Tiger and Evan from Pensions Acapella, chiming in from the University of Pennsylvania.
This has been Tiger on the Block. Remember to treat those vocal cords right.
Try out that riff you've always wanted to try.
And chug a ton of honey. And that's the end of the podcast, everybody. Let me put this on pause.